Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Becky and I'm the founder of Accelerating Your Growth. And today I'm super excited because we are going to have an interactive webinar about a topic that I'm really passionate, which is about women in business. And for that, we have an amazing guest speaker, Sean Ribeiro. And I want to start with some questions. Have you ever let go of myths to move forward in your life? What are the emotions that have governed your life at that time? Like you, I faced myths that I've chosen to change with time, empathy, and work. And my vision is to collaborate with other women at the crossroads to remember their inner power and find clarity through self-knowledge and creative intuition exercises. And one of those inspiring and strong women is our guest today. Her name, Shan Rivera. She's a counselor and practice owner at Shiloh Within Counseling. Shiloh Within Counseling is based in the beautiful Adelaide Hills, offering online and telephone counseling. She has a passion for relationship therapy and counseling for adolescents with anxiety and depression. Shan is level 2 member of the Australian Counselling Association and a registered member of the ACA's College of Supervisors and enjoys supervising counseling students, recent and new counseling graduates who are finding their feet in the counseling space. Shan understands and promotes the importance of the individual self-care, goal setting, and development as the clients grow in their self-awareness and capacity to develop the life they desire. Shan holds a graduate diploma in counseling and integrated psychotherapy, spiritual, and a certificate in individual group supervision. So let's welcome Shan to the stage. Shan, are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Becky. Thank you for having me.
Really good to see you. How is the weather in the Adelaide Hills?
It's nice and warm today, but I've been stuck at my desk most of it.
Yeah. It's a little bit warm today. That's true. I'm still enjoying the summer a little bit.
Me too. I much prefer to be warm than to be cold. So
I
yes,
know. I know.
yeah.
So, Sean, thank you so much for your time. I'm super excited for the information that you have prepared for us. I'll be here taking notes and following your presentation.
Thank you very much, Becky. And I really love that you started your presentation with questions. As a counsellor, that's what I do well, is ask questions, and I do have questions to ask people tonight. So if you grab a pen and paper, and if anything comes up for you while I'm presenting, just note it down, and I'd be happy to have a chat with anybody after the presentation. So yeah, tonight we're talking about debunking 3 myths for women in business. And I have been in my private practice for 4 years now, and I specialise with working with adolescents who have strong anxious thoughts and depression and suicidal ideations. I'm really passionate about that because our youth are very pressured in this time, and they are in such a difficult environment with the school system, and I love to help them work out who they are as an individual. I also work with people who have lost a marriage, whether that be through divorce or death, and rebuilding their life and their identity, and also for parenting and couples counselling. So that's what I focus on. So I just want everybody to have a look at these 3 myths that we're looking at tonight. The first one, that women in business are too risk averse. The second, that women in business lack confidence. And the third, women in business don't put the hours in. And I just want people to have a think about these 3 myths and whether they're actually myths that you hold for yourself, or for women in business in general. I really like this pictograph, because we do tend to think that if we take a risk and it messes up, that we're going to change the world in a negative way, that it will be the end of the world in some regards. We're very cautious about stepping out of our comfort zones, and the research shows that women are actually able to and do take risks, but they're different types of risks than men take in business. So I think it's important to differentiate between the genders in this instance, without being offensive to anybody. But there are general differences that navigate how much risk we're willing to take. So Devine said in 2017, without risk there is little chance or growth, and that's referring to business. So I thought it would be helpful to try and reframe our thinking around taking risks, and it can be really helpful to build on your strengths and look at how you can build on a solid foundation from your evidence from the past. So some thoughts and some notes that you might want to take down could be what risks you've taken so far in your business and which of those have really paid off. And there may be some that have and some that haven't. And I think it's also important to have a think about what you say to yourself. And we're going to talk about self-talk a little bit later. But what is it that you say to yourself if your risks pay off and you're successful in what you've set out to do? And what do you say to yourself if your risk hasn't paid off or it's failed? What kind of things do you say to yourself? And then I'd like you to have a think about whether you have a next step risk that you're willing to take in your business to put yourself out there for growth and putting your business in the marketplace. The second myth is lacking confidence. So is that something that you struggle with to turn your ideas into reality? Do you feel that you don't have the confidence to do that? And this is where we're going to talk about self-talk. So when we examine our self-talk, we can say voices in our head without making everybody sound crazy, but we do have core values, core thoughts, core beliefs that come up in our head, in our thinking about how successful we can be. So I think it's really helpful to examine where have those things come from? Who said the things that you now say to yourself in your past? When we're young people, impressionable people, we just believe what we're told. We don't have the filter to be able to really examine what people have said and question whether what they've said is true or not. So when people have said things to us in the past that limit us in our younger years, we just take those on as being truth. And so it can be years and years later that we discover that we're actually telling ourselves the same thing, and it could be time to examine those and to change them for helpful thoughts. So what are you saying to yourself? And are they true and helpful thoughts? Are they helping you reach your goals? Are they helping you in moving forward and overcoming that possible lack of confidence that you have? What can you tell yourself instead? Can you replace those thoughts in your head and tell yourself something more encouraging? And who's your team? Who are they that are behind you and cheerleading and giving you encouragement and backing you every step of the way? These are really important people to take notice of and to acknowledge and thank them, but also look for more people who you can add to that list, because it's so important to live in a community. We're made to be in community with each other. So whether that be colleagues or people in your family, who can you look to for the support that you need? And I like the quote at the top of this one from Worrell in 2020 saying, try telling yourself another story and see what possibilities open up for you. So your uniqueness is also another thing to take into account, and this is something that I really love to talk with clients about, is their uniqueness. No two of us are the same, and we all have our own sets of gifts and talents and passions. So what is it that you are passionate about? And why? Why are you so passionate about that thing? Another thing that I like to work with clients about is values. So identifying your values, and are you living in alignment with those values? And if not, can that be changed? How can you change that? So how can you express your uniqueness through your passion and your business? Because your set of experiences and your values and the lens that you look through is different. It's a different package to what anybody else has. And so the way that you express yourself in your business will be different, and it will be unique, and it will be special to you. And I think that's a really exciting thing. And I see so many people out there in business and learning who it is that they're serving in their business, and how that makes them feel when they are touching the lives of other people and serving in the way that they feel is what they're made to do. It makes such a difference to both the person in business but also the clients. They can really tell when somebody's genuinely loving what they do. Mentoring is another area that is valuable, so valuable in the business space, and especially if you're lacking confidence, which we all do at times. I think it's quite normal to have self-doubt and have questions about whether we're just doing this under our own steam or whether we can make it. So having people around you who you can work with to encourage you. So we talked about the cheerleading, but also having mentors who've been through the stages that you're going through and can help encourage you to take those next steps and to encourage you that you can make it to where you want to go, and also modelling certain behaviours that you might need to to display in what you do, and also having somebody honest who can say, you know, perhaps what you're doing is not the best in that area, and being somebody that you can really bounce ideas off of, and you're going to get honest, good feedback from. And are there any other resources that you can tap into to increase your confidence? And by resources, it could be online videos. There's so much available online through YouTube and other sources, podcasts, etc. Where else can you find out the information that you need, but not only information, but the inspiration to do what it is that you're wanting to do. So the third myth is that women don't put the hours in. I still struggle with this myth. I'm not sure how anybody could come up with a myth like that. This is an iceberg, which is a great pictograph about what a successful business is actually made up of, and how much work goes into what we do. And this is not just for women in business, this is for everybody, but we, you know, especially in this age of social media, what we see people present on their Facebook pages or, you know, LinkedIn pages, it's all that the good stuff. But underneath that, the amount of work that goes into setting up a business and keeping it running, and the concern and everything that gets carried along with owning a business is very hard work. And I think in the next slide we're going to talk about the boundaries that I think women have difficulty in putting in place in balancing their work and their personal lives. So women are less likely than men to set boundaries. And I was having a think about this, you know, women are known as being multitaskers, and the brain is so interconnected, and whereas men are better at, in general, once again, better at compartmentalizing the things that they need to do, and historically women are juggling one thing and another. And I realise that not all women in business have children or families, but that can be one of the things, juggling a husband or partner, and juggling children and sports, and, you know, a whole plethora of things that need to be managed. So one of the reflective practices that is helpful for people to do is to really write a list of things that they are managing in their lives apart from their business or along with their business, and what is it that they really want to achieve. So SMART goals are one of my favourite things. I've done some research on SMART goals and how that reduces people's stress and anxiety. It's quite fascinating. And procrastination, it also reduces procrastination. And these, once again, these are things that you can do with a mentor or a business coach like Becky, or even with a colleague that you may work well with, even if it's not in the same space. You know, get together once a week or once a month and set your SMART goals and hold each other accountable to them, and feedback to each other. Because SMART goals are a great tool for doing things incrementally. It can get very overwhelming when you look at all of the things that need to be done. It can become quite distressing if you look at the big picture. So to break it down into reasonable goals that are bite-sized so that you can achieve one thing at a time, 1 week at a time, and just go through your priorities and find out what it is that you want to achieve week by week. It can be a really powerful tool for moving forward. And the other thing that I've learned too is if there are things that you're procrastinating on in your business that you just dread doing, like for me, that's book work. I dislike it and will procrastinate on that until the point where it gets so stressful. And I have to set, half a week aside or a week aside to catch up. So what I learned to do was to let that go, to outsource that, which is the next point. I realised that and I think this is true for most people, I'm much better off investing my time into the things that I love doing and allowing somebody who has the skills and the passion for numbers and bookkeeping to do that for me. And that frees my mind up. It stops me from getting so overwhelmed and feeling heavily laden with jobs that I just don't want to do, and that's why I'm avoiding them. So have a think about what you could maybe outsource. And sometimes we think, financially, I'm not sure if I can do that, and that's something that you do need to consider. But oftentimes, if you're weighing up, so for me, for example, the amount that I get from a session from seeing a client can probably pay for 2 or 3 hours of a bookkeeper's fee. So to me, that's worthwhile. So it's up to you to work out whether that is worthwhile for you to outsource jobs and enjoy your workspace and free up your mind space a whole lot more. And finally, on this slide, are the people in your home helping you out? So I think, we are in a different era where often people in the home do help out more, but that's not always the case. There's still some very traditional mindsets out there as well. So would it be helpful if people in your home could come on board and you can get a family meeting going and work out how they can support you in your goals in your business by helping you run things in the home? So that's just another consideration in setting boundaries. And there's an acronym about boundaries, which I really like. Yep, that's right, Becky. The next one, please. Yep. So boundaries, be aware of what is unacceptable and normalise saying no. Do what is best for you and know that it is not your responsibility to sacrifice yourself for others. So I think that's a really clever acronym. I think sometimes some people's personality is difficult for them to say no and to put themselves last all the time. So it's helpful to be able to set the boundaries, because it's like strengthening a muscle, really. Is some people have found it very difficult to set boundaries through their whole life and to be able to say, well, this is what I'm responsible for and this is what you're responsible for. And then if they haven't got that ability to set strong boundaries, they're taking other people's responsibilities on all the time. And so it's like strengthening a muscle. You start with something small and you build up your strength, and eventually you're building quite strong and resilient boundaries that will stand the test of time, because you've built them nice and strong and you're more aware of what it is that you're aiming to do and what your goals are and what you're actually responsible for, and not taking the responsibility that belongs to other people and allowing them to take the responsibility for themselves. So that's the end of the presentation. I hope that it's been helpful. And if there's anything that anybody has found that they have felt that they've really set off an area in their lives that they feel that they need some help to work through, I'd like to offer a special offer of 10 hours of counselling for $950 instead of $1,200 if you book the first session before March the 31st. I'd love to work with anybody who's willing and who has any of those questions that I've asked tonight. They've thought, yeah, that's actually something that I would like some help to overcome so that I can move forward and move past.
Sean, are you there? I think we lost her for a little bit. While she comes back. Yeah, so this is Sean's contact details. You can find her in Facebook as well, and also LinkedIn, and obviously you have the phone number there. And also these are her references. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, so thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for being here. And you can follow Sean, and also you can follow me in Facebook, Accelerating Your Growth. And thank you so much for your time, and see you next time. Bye-bye.